Jim, I recently read that the average American puts away 60 pounds of sugar a year. That is more than a pound a week.
Yeah, that's
That's
crazy, isn't it?
incredible.
It's crazy. And you know, the thing is, sugar is everywhere, right? Um, and one of the problems is it's found that about 75% of all the packaged food we buy at the store, but the food companies go a long way in hiding it because there's actually 60 plus names for sugar they use on labels to help hide the sugar from you, if you will.
Yeah.
So for example, barbecue sauce, very common to see added sugar. And if you look at the ingredient list, as you know, that when we see the first thing that's listed on the ingredient is the most common thing in the package: high fructose corn syrup, right?
Nah.
But if you go down the list, what's interesting, when you get down, 6 or 8 more ingredients in, you see molasses, and then a few more down, you see corn syrup, and a few more down, you see sugar. So what's happening here, that they've hidden sugar in, wait, what are you doing there?
Oh, I did some fast math, and 60 pounds a year equates to 17
Holy cow.
teaspoons a day.
Every day.
Yeah, this is the added sugar. This is
Wow.
not the naturally occurring sugars that we,
Right,
have in like
right.
fruit and,
Yeah,
whatever other
sure.
foods. This is extra.
Yeah. Could you imagine that every morning before your kid goes out to school, you say, here, and you dump that on their cereal?
Yeah, take
or
care of
something?
this for the
Yeah,
day.
right. That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, anyway, what I was saying is that thanks for doing that, because
Yeah.
that's really
So
eye-opening.
you're welcome.
That's really eye-opening. So, but the point is here, they've hidden sugar, all over the place.
Yeah.
And
So they've used like 4 different words for sugar
right.
on this label.
And 2 tablespoons, by the way, which is 1 serving, has 17 grams of sugar, which is like most of what you need for the day. It's crazy. Another question that comes up sometimes: does it matter where the sugar comes from? Right?
Yeah.
Is there a difference between the sugar, say, in a piece of fruit, and the sugar, say, in fruit juice? Right? So let's talk about an apple. Apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? So a small apple has about 100 calories in it, and it's mostly from sugar, from fructose. That's about 25 grams. There's 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate, which sugar is a carbohydrate. But where's that sugar at? Well, it's in the apple, right? So when we eat that apple, our bodies actually burn calories. We do physical work to digest that apple. The soluble fiber in the apple absorbs water, so it slows the progression through our digestive tract. That sugar is slowly absorbed into our bloodstream, so we don't have these big insulin spikes, right? The soluble fiber downstream feeds healthy gut microbiome. There's vitamin, minerals, all is good. Absolutely nothing wrong. We change that package of how the sugar is delivered. So we take that apple, we squeeze out the exact same 25 grams of sugar, exactly 100 calories, and now we put it in a bottle like this. And if we took this bottle to the chemistry lab and analyze it, it's the same sugar, it's the same calories, but now it's not in the apple, right?
Right.
And not only that, when we drink something like apple juice, we're typically not drinking just 1 apple's worth of juice. There might be 3 or 4, and the food companies add sugar to that on top of it, right?
Right. We want to make it really sweet so
Exactly,
everybody loves
exactly.
it.
And so when we drink this sugar is absorbed right out of the upper part of our digestive tract. Our sugar levels spike through the roof. We have all this insulin we have to make, and guess what? Next thing you know, we're at risk for things like diabetes, which is crazy. And so, the other scary thing is that about almost 50% of this 17 teaspoons of sugar, which still blows my mind,
Yeah.
is found in sugar-sweetened beverages, right? So, Coca-Cola, 65 grams of added sugar just in this one serving, 20 ounces. It's really insane.
And nowadays, this is something small, even though we,
No,
just bought
exactly.
this.
But it's in sports drinks, it's in energy drinks, on and on and on. The list goes on. It's really crazy.
So we, you and I know that we probably wouldn't get a heavily extra sweetened or added sugar beverage, no matter what it is, right?
Right.
But this one, so there's plenty of diet or zero sugar beverages on the market. And just like this one says zero,
0 calories.
zero calories,
sugar.
zero sugar.
Right.
So, but there is artificial sweeteners in here.
Right.
So what's so bad about that?
Well, so artificial sweeteners come in many forms. There's many different kinds. We've got things like the little blue packs and the yellow packs, and there's little pink packs.
Yeah.
you know, you might think that artificial sweeteners, because this has 0 calories, they would help you lose weight and help prevent diabetes. But in fact, there's some evidence it might be the opposite effect. And the reason is when we taste something sweet, the receptors in our tongues sense that, and it sends a signal to our brain to expect some calories to come behind, right?
Right.
And that starts to generate some hormones which start to suppress our appetite.
Which is what we want.
Exactly. When we taste something that's sweet, but there's no calories behind, our brains get confused, and we stop making some of these hormones to suppress our appetite. So our appetites actually go up, and we can gain weight and make diabetes worse. It's very counterintuitive. Probably more scary than that, though, is the link. There is increasing evidence behind associating these artificial sweeteners with cancer. That's a big concern. Now, most of that research is done in animals, but there is some research even in humans. So another reason why you really, you know, I think Michael Pollan, the food writer, said, you know, if you're looking at ingredients and there's more than 5 ingredients you can't pronounce or you don't know what they are, you probably should put it back. And so you look on here, you know, caramel color, aspartame, phosphoric acid, potassium, benzoate. You know, I don't know what any of that stuff is, right? So that's another pretty good rule of thumb.
Right. So it's not a hall pass. It's not, you know,
exactly. In
just
fact,
because
it's
it doesn't.
another reason to put it back.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a treat. I actually have a sweet-ish treat for you today. I am going to make. So I have a cookie for us, right?
All right.
And
who
everybody,
doesn't love cookies?
right? Everybody equates cookies with, first of all, treats, and treats sweetness, right?
Right.
So I do have a sweet treat for us, but it is not made from added sugars or any of this imitation stuff. Can we get to it?
Yeah. Before we get to it, I just want to say one more thing. So, one thing that's important now, you might just ask yourself, so why does this even matter? What's wrong? Like, what's wrong? This is just energy.
Right.
What's wrong with just taking sugar? What's wrong with having sugar added to our diets? Well, there's clear, you know, most of us are pretty aware that increased sugar intake is associated with increased risk for diabetes and poor control of diabetes. But there's also evidence that links increased sugar intake to things like heart disease and obesity and even cancer. So there's a lot of reasons to limit the amount of added sugars to your diet. And so I can't wait to see what secret ingredient you use to make a cookie that doesn't have all this added sugar.
All right, well, then let's get cooking.
All right.
Okay, so this is one of those don't blink or you're going to miss it. And this is a sub-recipe inside of our cookie recipe. And the only reason I'm showing you how to make this is because I don't have any right now in the fridge. It's date paste.
Oh, great.
So real simple, 2 ingredients.
Yeah.
We are just taking to a blender, and this is a high-speed blender.
Right.
So you don't always need to soak these dates, but I just did so we're not blending forever.
I can help you here. Hold on,
Yeah,
yes.
thanks. Now, even if your container of dates
Says fitted.
give yes, give it a little squeeze, because the last thing that you want is date pits in your blender.
Now, when you're done with this, can you freeze it? Can you put it in the refrigerator? How long will it last? How long will it last?
Excellent question, and I know this because I did a foul. I made a whole bunch of date paste and I put it in a sealed container and put it in the refrigerator.
Right.
About 3 days later, I had furry date paste.
Oh.
Nobody wants furry date paste.
No,
because there's
that
no
sounds very good to me.
No, it was
me out.
very off-putting. So I've learned that if you make date paste, put enough for the 2 or 3 days in the refrigerator, sealed container,
Right.
and then you can put the rest in the freezer. I'll tell you what, you take it out of the freezer and it thaws really quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
can imagine you could even put it like in a little ice cube tray or something like that.
do that.
And then, one serving is a cube, if you will.
Yeah, it's
Well, I'm gonna have
very
to check that out.
very easy to use this stuff. Okay, so put your dates in the blender,
Yep.
and then start it really slow. And then you just add a little bit of water, get things moving. And we're gonna let this thing go.
Honestly, it makes you want to dip a spoon in there.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a date ice cream or something,
It's been known to happen.
Yeah. Well, I can see why.
You can see how nice and thick this
Oh,
is.
wow.
Okay, so we're gonna clean up all this business and then get back to cookie making, okay? Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, this is my 1 bowl dump, smush, bake breakfast cookies.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to start off with a ripe banana. So we know that ripe bananas are very sweet, so that's also going to help
Right.
sweeten
things
up our cookies. And get in there. Now you can, if you want to use a fork and mush these.
Potato masher or something like
Potato
that.
masher, but why?
Well, you like to dump in mush as opposed to dump in mash.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I really want to get in there with my food, and this would be great to have your kids help you out with,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
but that's why I'm wearing the gloves today.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now because I don't cook with any oil, also we're going to do 1-to-1 with applesauce.
Right. So if the recipe called for oil, so you're making a pancake or something like that, you can use applesauce as a substitute, if you will.
Most of the time. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the time.
Right.
Not all the time, because
Right.
I've run into some.
Yeah.
But we'll get into a baking show and we'll kind of get through all that.
yeah.
But
Oh, that's
so I'm
interesting.
using applesauce
Yeah.
instead of oil today.
Gotcha.
All right, so then, Matt, get all that going. So now we are going to add in, this is, let me see.
Cinnamon.
Yes, cinnamon,
I can smell it. That's how I knew.
cinnamon, salt, and baking soda.
Baking powder.
Baking powder, excuse me. And we're going to add in, this is oat flour. Now, I gotta say, I encourage people to not buy oat flour.
Right.
Just take regular oats, dump them into a dry blender, and run it.
Oh wow! So you can just take like a spice grinder, right?
Oh, for
If you just
sure.
want a little bit, you just
Yep.
put rolled oats and then hit it, and now you've got.
Yeah,
That's
and just
brilliant.
I keep mine and just.
How come you ever told me that before?
Well, you gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention. Now this is ground flax, and this is, of course, going to add more fiber, more omegas,
Right.
and also create a binder as well.
Right,
This will
right.
help bind our cookies together.
Can't you use? Isn't flaxseed one of the things you can do as an egg substitute too?
You can, if you combine water and flax meal.
Oh, wow.
Let it sit for a few minutes. That becomes like really kind of gooey, like an egg.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
it's a
Oh,
great
that's
binder.
amazing.
This is our 1/2 cup of date paste.
Oh, yeah,
So there's
you
that
just made.
sweetener.
Yeah.
There's that whole food sweetener, like we like to say. Okay, so we're mixing all this together. It's going to become like a dough, right? Get in there, mix it up. Now, if you want to please.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other nice thing, because there's no raw egg in there, if you wanted to get a spoon in there and have a bite right now, you're not going to
if
get
there-
salmonella, right?
If there was ever a positive to not adding egg to this,
Right.
so you can dig in while you're baking.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
So
plus, have you seen the price of eggs here lately?
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, no thanks, no
Yeah,
thanks.
right.
Now these are whole oats.
Right.
And this is 2 cups of whole rolled or old-fashioned oats. And here's the thing also, as you are mixing this up, the oats will, just like the oat flour and the flax meal, it will start to really soak up the liquid in
Right,
here,
right.
So, just take your time. We're in no hurry to get over to that oven, and it will start to thicken up, in just a minute or so, because again, those oats are very porous and they're just really soaking up the liquid of the applesauce
Right.
and really the banana too.
Right.
Okay, so now it's getting nice and thick, right?
Right.
And if you just let this sit, really if you let this sit for about 5 minutes,
Right.
it would become nice and thick.
Now, can you put it in the refrigerator if you want to help ferment up quicker?
You can, yeah, sure you could.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, everybody has different brands of oats and different, we all have different brands that we like. And if you find that you're not really thickening up, all right, I guess that's the word, thickening up as much as you would like to, it's still a little bit runny,
Yeah.
Then just go ahead and add in
Add
a little bit
some
more
more,
oat
yeah,
flour
sure.
or some more oats.
Right.
Just kind of play with it a little bit.
Right, sure.
Because you want it to be nice and thick. You want these cookies to,
And what kind of
be dense.
consistency are you looking for?
Just something that's really, that's not going to fall apart. It doesn't need to be really thick, like
Right.
if we're making a burger. It doesn't need to
Right,
be.
right.
But
Got
this is actually looking really pretty good.
it. Okay, good.
All right, so let's add in some walnuts. Now this is optional, but it gives you a little boost of
Omega-3s.
Omega-3s,
Right.
a little bit more fat. It's going to be like a whole fat, right?
And also fiber.
Yes, fiber. Now, I have to add a little bit of chocolate.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Okay. But you've got some dairy-free chocolate.
Yes,
there, right?
I have dairy-free chocolate, and we have a link to the brand that I really like has very low amounts of sugar in it.
Right. And it's more like dark chocolate.
It is.
too,
It
which-
is dark chocolate.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's got that's got a lot of polyflavones and
Tell me all the good stuff about it. Tell me all the good stuff.
It's a very potent antioxidant, actually, dark chocolate, and has a lot of health benefits. So nothing wrong with that.
All right. And I didn't really add a whole lot, but
No.
now that I'm
Nothing-
like trying to
nothing wrong with
qualify
Yeah,
that I
right.
put
Trying to
chocolate
justify.
in this. Okay.
But you did it. You hit all the right boxes. So it's dairy free.
Uh-huh.
It's dark chocolate. So you get a pass.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. If you wouldn't mind grabbing our cookie sheet.
Sure.
Thank you.
There you go.
Now, this is really the perfect consistency. I love how this has turned out. You want to grab, if you don't mind getting dirty with me, you want to grab a spoon. I'm going to use my hands. Now just grab a pretty generous spoonful.
Just dollop it on there.
Dollop it up.
Like that?
Or you can make them pretty like that, or you can just.
How you do it? Wait, one more time. You sound like your cat. You don't hang around your cat too long.
It does sound like her.
I know. I've heard her on Zoom podcasts.
Yes.
Zoom meetings.
I kind of like I have made them nice and neat like you, but but I like this because it's a little bit more texture.
Yeah.
But whatever.
What does it say about our personalities? Right?
Well, I think you're right. I think it really
organized and,
Yeah.
nice
Just
and neat.
get that on there.
You're just like, what was the sound again?
Channeling my cat.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna move this one up here, and I'm gonna.
All right,
Okay.
I'll give you the pleasure of doing the last one.
Okay, where are we gonna put it? Because I feel like
we
we've
can put it right there.
we're really good at this.
Yeah.
Hold on. Here's a chocolate chip. Let's put that on there too.
All right, there we go.
All right.
We got
Okay.
it.
So you can
All
have
right.
lots of fun while we're doing this. All right. So the oven is preheated at 350. We're
Right.
going to bake these for about 12 to 15 minutes. You just want to make sure, look at them when they're getting just a little brown.
Right.
So we can pull them out, and then they'll be nice and soft. And they will, don't worry about it, we'll kind of get to that when we pull these out, but they may be a little soft, but as they cool down, they will firm up. Yeah. So
Can't
let's
wait
get
to
these.
try 'em.
I know.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
get them in the oven. Don't you love the way the kitchen smells when there's fresh cookies?
Oh, my
I
goodness.
know.
It's so good.
Okay, are we ready to dig in?
Well, I have one question before
Yeah.
we do that. What happens if you don't have dates in your kitchen and you want to make something like this? Are there other sweeteners you might use?
Yeah, the only other sweetener I would probably put in this would be maple syrup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
that's still the same half cup, I believe,
Right.
we used in
So it'd be
here.
a one-on-one kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I could see that using dates because, again, we talked about the apple and the apple juice earlier. The dates are the whole package.
Right.
The package the sweetener comes in has fiber and all that, where if you're using maple syrup, it's just really the sweetness. So
Right.
so
So
that
dates
makes,
really are the way to
yeah,
go.
that makes sense. Well, let's dig in.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Very good.
Really good. Amazing.